we have here is an Encon High Breeze Industrial made by Crompton Greaves of India. It has a cast aluminum motor, aluminum blades. Yes. And ooh, look at that pinstriping. Yes. Very nice. The blades have an upward pitch. Very interesting. Pretty much all Crompton Greaves Industrials have that upward pitch. Has a pretty steep pitch, and there's a reason for that. There is a reason that this has a pretty steep pitch. Encon, alright, what they did is they used the same 56-inch motor for every size between 36 and 56 inches. So you had 56, yeah, and you had 48-inch spans using that motor. You had 42-inch spans, and then you had 36-inch spans. The Industrials, as seen here, came 36-inch, 42-inch, 48-inch, and 56-inch using this motor. Overseas, there's a 60-inch version called a high efficiency, which is an oddball, and there's also the weird Princess, which I think is a 30 to 32-inch, something weird like that. That uses a smaller motor, though. So, yeah, you have a huge motor with a short span. So, what do you think that's going to do? Yeah. So, Encon, right, was founded in, I think, 75. And they were one of the first companies to start importing fans to the United States. Yeah, the earlier ones have a different upper canopy. They have a stepped, kind of a tiered upper canopy, a tiered bell canopy. Later ones have the bell canopy that matches the lower canopy. Kind of like Weatherites of that time period. So, yeah, so let's see what this does. Another thing worth noting is that when these things were new, alright, the motors and blade sets were sold separately. So, the motors were white and brown, for the most part, 3 or 4 blade configurations. Alright? With the 4 blade, you could have wood sets or metal sets. Wood blades, and the 42, 48, and I think just 56 inches. I don't know if 52 was a thing. Metal sets went 42 inch, 48 inch, and 56 inch. The metal sets for the 4 blades were wider, because these were more residual. Nice amalgamation right there. A residential industrial hybrid. They tended to have ornate blade irons. So, but the 3 blade were more or less just for the industrial market. Okay. Now I have seen 3-bladed Crompton Greaves Encons with the residual metal blades. You know, with the fleur-de-lis blade irons, for example. I've seen that. Because again, blade sets and motors were sold separately. So that's why. But anyway, let's see what this thing does. Another thing worth noting is this. That is the choke control. They call it a choke. Yeah, it's a wall control. 5 speeds. I mean, basically, a choke control uses a speed coil in the control. So we are going to start on speed 1, which is low. Now the thing with choke controls is that they tend to always have a fast low speed, no matter how you look at it. Also worth noting is that the control is rated for 42-inch spans. Yeah, the control is rated for a 42-inch span. Which means it's okay. Now yeah, this is the low speed. It's pretty fast. Let's go to medium low. Medium low is more like medium high, really. Go to medium. Go to medium high. And now let's just go straight up high. The differences in speed are subtle, but noticeable enough. Another thing worth noting is this thing hauls ass. Why is that? Oh, that's because you're using a 56-inch motor with 36-inch spans, so the blade sets are going to be steeply pitched. Some brands were like, oh, let's just make, like Weatherite, for example, who, made Leading Edge and some Daytons as well, right? Like Coast. Right, they made a different size motor for each size. 36-inch had one size, 48 had one, 56 had one, 60 had a noticeably bigger one, and then 72 had an even bigger one than that. So, But Encon, nope, no care in the world. They were cheap, just one size fits all. Of course, for you non-Americans, okay, it says blades do not exceed 1400 millimeter or 140 centimeters. Okay, that's equivalent to 56 inches in imperial terms. So yeah, it is a 56-inch motor with a tiny little span. It's nuts. So yeah, this is one of the better performing 36-inch industrials out there. Now, all these used straight blades. There are no curved blades as far as I know with Encon. They were all straight. How do they spread it around? Oh, they just upward pitch. Just add upward pitch to the blades. Now, here's the fun part. This is how you know it's a 56-inch span. Acceleration is virtually instant. Now these days, Crompton Greaves industrials are not particularly common, or Crompton Greaves are not common in the US, period, anymore. Okay. They are sadly going the way of the dodo, even though they are insanely powerful. Now, the Crompton Greaves industrials, or at least the partnership with Encon, ended in the early 80s. Okay, in the early 80s, they started using Firebird for their OEM. which means they used them for their industrials, which were they weren't up to the level of, Crompton Greaves. Alright, and what's funny though is they used the same wall control, the same choke control for these newer industrials. Of course, I've documented that one in the past as well, but point stands. So, yeah, these fell out of the market probably around 83, 82 maybe. So, yeah. But again, these have been around since the mid-70s in the US. So they're out there. It's just they're becoming less common. Now this one, if I had to take a guess in terms of dating, yeah, I would say 1980, something like that. But anyway, there you have it, a 36-inch, 900 millimeter Encon Crompton Greaves Industrial.